Ahmed, it's very nice to meet you. I'm super happy and excited to meet you. We are here in the middle of Cairo, in Egypt, which is a new place for me. Can you tell me a little bit about your story? We had a chance to talk before, and I would love if you could tell me about your story and especially about the project you are working on right now, which is fascinating to me.
So I basically come from an engineering background. I worked in FMCG companies before, and I was interested in the theory of change, how people change, how economies change, and how countries change. That's why I shifted my career and worked in education for a little bit. And then I realized also that I need to understand people more. And this is where our new company came into action. We had a crisis in Egypt with foreign currency, and the prices almost doubled for every product. And we found an opportunity to work with Egyptian manufacturers that are underutilized in terms of operation, and maybe we can utilize them more and produce high quality products at their facilities and sell it to consumers at cheaper prices. And there we found a very good chance to sell through people, not through retail stores or other normal trade channels. And we realized the treasure we have in Egypt. We have lots of people. We have lots of people eager to use high quality products with decent prices, and they're eager also to spread the word for the people they love and they know. And we were amazed with the traction we were getting. And this is giving us a better opportunity to understand how people think, how people make their choices, either in if it's simple choice of buying a bottle of shampoo or complex choice of choosing in life or making life decision. We're working with them to raise their capacity, their ability to make better decisions, and to support them with better training programs as well. So I find it a very nice opportunity to work with people.
Wow. And I'm a futurist, so I'm also always very excited about sharing your views about the future. Typically, how do you see yourself in 10 years? Where would you live? What would you do in 10 years?
Maybe I'd be a university professor or something. But on the parallel, I think I'd be working also in extreme business environment where we are working with people on grassroots level and on spread cities and countries. I'd love to see myself doing that.
And Egypt has changed a lot, as you mentioned, crisis, revolution. Related to your business, how do you see the future? Because from my little experience here, I see like everything booming. When you go to the suburbs of Cairo, it's like new buildings everywhere, but to an extent that is absolutely amazing. You can drive not for hours, but for 1 hour, just seeing new buildings. So how do you see the future of Cairo and the future of Egypt?
I see the future of Cairo a little bit different than the future of Egypt. Cairo is getting bigger. It's moving to becoming a mega city with diversities and all the characteristics of mega cities. So I think it would be a huge economic power, not only in Egypt, I think for Africa as well. For Egypt, I think the expansion would be on other cities, maybe in the east, maybe in the north, maybe in the south. I don't know exactly what would be the direction, but I see the real treasure is in talents. How would be talent mobilization, getting out of the center and moving towards the outer side of Egypt. About technology, how we would invest in technology, how we would invest in exportation. And I see the future is in Africa, honestly. If you ask me, Egypt should look.
Why? Tell me why. Tell me, because nobody talks that much about Africa, so I'm very excited about that.
It's just, I see it as statistically, Africa is the highest growing nations in terms of population. The rate of growth is extremely high. By 2050, they will reach 2.5 billion, starting from 1 billion right now. So it will be a very big market. They're working. Most of African countries are moving toward urbanization. This means lots of jobs needed. This means lots of creating opportunities for young people. Imagine the youth bulge Egypt is having right now would be repeated in other African countries maybe in 20 or 30 years. So they will need you have lots of energy, you have lots of power, you have very big minds, and you want just to put them in track. So if you invest now in Africa, I think it will be the right bet.
And how do you see the connection between young people? Obviously, you're younger than me. You studied in Cairo, you also studied in Sweden. How do you see the connection between younger Egyptian, like, I don't know, 20 to 30 years old, with the rest of the world? How do they see the rest of the world? Do they feel connected to it, or do they just feel like Egyptian and that's all?
I think it depends. It's not an Egyptian rest of the world thing. I think it's just a millennials thing. So it's we grew in a world where we are already connected. We know what other people are doing. We know a lot about their dreams, and we know a lot that we have different starting points in terms of looking for the future and having different capabilities. So I think we have higher self-awareness than previous generations. I think also we have higher hopes and dreams because we knew other people's stories. We knew the transformations happening or happened in different countries. So I see big opportunities in terms of bridging Egyptian people with others. Now the waves of Egyptians studying abroad is higher than ever. The language barriers are decreasing because every day more Egyptians are starting to speak different languages and bridging with other words. And I think it's inevitable to just separate Egyptian youth from other youth of the world. They will eventually connect and they will eventually find common areas to work together.
And that's true not only, according to you, not only for big cities like Cairo. You feel also this connection between young people in smaller city. I don't know what is a smaller city in Egypt, but
I see it moving, not at the rate of urban cities in Egypt, but I see it moving. I see it. I see the rate of growth of intellectual exchanges is growing. I see the ways of expressing themselves as youth. It's still somehow different. It's still somehow not that similar, but I see it evolving at least, and it's changing. So who knows? Maybe 10 years from now, when the world is more connected, I don't know how things will be.
And coming back to the connection with the rest of Africa, do you see any countries with a better connection or with the rest of the world, or with a better potential of change?
In Africa?
Yes.
I don't claim that I'm still an expert in Africa, so I can't speak on behalf of Africa, but from what I read and from what I see abroad, that I think some Eastern African countries are doing a very good job, like Kenya, Tanzania, some parts of Ethiopia also. I think Nigeria, of course, has big potential in terms of population, in terms of wealth and natural resources. Senegal as well. And maybe Rwanda is a very good success story in terms of economic transformation. South Africa, of course, they're working more towards economic and cultural integration with Europe and the West. The part of North Africa and the connectivity to Southern Europe, it's also happening for a long time. So I see different parts of Africa still in defining themselves and positioning themselves, and also connecting with the outer world. The influence of China, Russia, as you can see, is growing also in Africa. So I see it as a geopolitical, either a geopolitical force or geopolitical ground for economic fights. But I see that the Africa is coming.
Very interesting. I have a more personal question. Looking back at what you have seen in the past 10 years, what are you the most proud of?
I'm proud of taking risks at the right time. And I'm proud of my family and my fiance and my friends in supporting me making these decisions that looked stupid at that time, but I think they're paying off right now. So I'm proud of the safety net I have in Alexandria and Egypt, and I hope they will remain always like this.
Wow, great. And what are you the most excited about for the next year?
I'm excited about exploring the unknown territory. I'm excited about exploring the real Egypt outside of Cairo and Alexandria. I really love what I see right now from signs of very talented people, very big and very well-established manufacturing facilities that no one knew about, and they're working and exporting. So I'm really interested in exploring the real Egypt for the coming year.
And what would you tell to somebody who is not from Egypt, like me, or somebody who is watching this video, but they should know about Egypt, but it's not a common thing? But it's not only about the pyramids. And, what is the thing that you would like to share with people who have never been to Egypt?
I think the more you know about Egypt, the more you know about yourself. The history of Egypt, the ups and downs, the contradictions of cities and urban. So it reflects a lot about the human beings and the development over time. And if you read about the distribution of wealth over time in Egypt and how communities form, I think you will know a lot about also yourself, about your prejudice in terms of looking to other people and in your evolvement over time. I think it's a nice angle and point of view to look to.
Wow. And my last question, which may be the most difficult one, what if you had 3 advice for a young Egyptian, I don't know, like a 15 years old Egyptian, or actually a 15 years old anywhere in the world, what would be your 3 most important advice to be future ready, to be future proof?
First of all, you need to learn to unlearn. So how you can just unlearn and recharge yourself with new knowledge. Second thing is to travel. You need to travel. At young ages, you need to sit with as many people as you can. You need to understand different points of view. And the third thing is to spare some time to reflect all of this and to evolve and give yourself the benefit of the doubt of everything.
So, learn to unlearn, travel, and take some time. Take some time to reflect. Wow, that seems like a really amazing advice. Where would you like people to reach you or learn more about your company? Any website, Facebook page? What do you want to share? Where do you want people to reach you? If they want to reach you, or if you want them to reach you?
You can reach me on my LinkedIn account.
Okay, I'll put that on.
Maybe also the Facebook. I'm active on Facebook, so
okay.
You can put my Facebook.
And also for the company, I'll put the website. Okay. One last thing you would like to share with me, or a last thought you would like to share with me?
I think thinking about the future is a nice thing, but living the future it's really interesting thing, and I see that you are living in the future. I'm glad to see this, and I hope I can have the ability also to foresee futuristic events.
Are you optimistic about the future?
It's hard to tell. Sometimes I'm so pessimistic, and sometimes I'm skeptical, sometimes I'm optimistic. But I think it's part of life that the more knowledgeable and wise you get, the more you understand that optimism and pessimism is just a state of the normal or the big picture, which is a mix of both. So personally now I'm optimistic. I see lots of hope. Maybe if you ask me 1 year, I would be pessimistic.
So what makes you pessimistic? What makes you skeptical? And what makes you pessimistic?
I think it's maybe myself to see the opportunity in the future, how to understand the power dynamics and how things go. The more you understand the power dynamics, the more you know that you're weak, that you can do big things. And then when you roll your sleeves up and you work and you find some results, sometimes you see that you really can. So it's a continuous struggle of knowing and unknowing. I see it like that.
One of my things when I tell people and I want to share with everybody that the world has become chaotic, I always want to share that because it has become chaotic, we never had so much power individually to change things. Like when in the previous world, which I call the linear world, if you wanted to change something, you needed to be very powerful, but it's to be the prime minister or the president or the CEO of a very large company or many of you, so you can trigger a revolution. But I think in the new world, because everything has become chaotic, you have what we call the butterfly effect, which is to say a small event can have amazing consequences. So I think in this world, I really believe in the deepest part of my heart that people like you are really changing the world. Like, are the seeds of the new world. I really believe it.
Hope so. And hope we're changing it for the best, not for the worst.
I hope. Thank you very much, Ahmed. It's been really great meeting you here in Cairo.
Thank you, and welcome to Egypt.
Thank you.